9:35.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
And time now for The Geek Show. Joining me from The Geek Show today, lovely to have her back, it's Ms. Behaviour. G'day, Ms. B.
Good morning, Wammo.
Good morning, and today we're covering Creative Commons because you guys down there at Mohawk Media have been involved with putting together a video called Creative Commons Kiwi. Tell us about that.
We have indeed, yes. I sit on the advisory board of Creative Commons New Zealand, which is awesome because I'm really passionate about Creative Commons for artists, educators, teachers, scientists, pretty much anyone who is publishing content in digital domain. So we've been using forms of Creative Commons licensing at Mohawk for about 10 years, and basically it's a decade-old system for updating copyright in a digital age. So we were talking recently to Creative Commons New Zealand about putting together an animation to explain how Creative Commons works, and this is what we've just recently published at the NetHui called Creative Commons Kiwi.
Brilliant. So
you can watch this online at creativecommons.org.nz, and there's a link on the homepage to it. And yeah, it just basically walks you through why Creative Commons is important and then how the licenses work.
So also, I guess, as a content producer, an artist, a musician or whatever, how to actually use the license itself.
That's right, yes, because the basic license starts with attribution, which is the buy license, which is where you basically tell people who made the original artwork or a piece of video or piece of music, whatever that you were using and reusing or remixing. And this is the thing, we're moving into an era of remix culture, and that's fantastic. If you think about it, any great artist is only working on influences and inspirations and work that's come before. I mean, we all reference and we all pay homage to other people. So yeah, it starts off with a buy license. That's the most basic one. So you can put your picture up, and as long as you put CC BY and the license next to it, anyone who sees that image or the video clip or your music piece or whatever knows that you are happy for people to share it as long as you give an attribution.
Yeah.
And then the licenses, there's various other elements which you can then add on. So for example, you have non-commercial, you have no derivatives, which means that you can't remix it. So if you share it, it has to be in the same format. You have share alike, which is where if you republish it, you have to use the same license as the original piece. And the combination of these different elements creates different forms of licenses, from a very basic attribution right the way through to the most controlled license, which would be attribution, no derivatives, share alike, which is basically, you can publish this, but you can't change it. You must use the same license, and you must tell people how you've used it. So it's not that complicated when you break it down into the fact that you have this basic buy, which you then add on extra bits to give different levels of permission. And it doesn't replace copyright. This actually sits on top of copyright. So even if you're publishing under Creative Commons, you still own the copyright to your work, but it explicitly gives people permission in a really clear, open way as to whether or not you're happy for your work to be used, reused, remixed, republished, and spread all over the world.
I noticed that YouTube now, when you upload a new video, they now have the option, this has only happened in the last month or so, to make your work Creative Commons.
That's right. Vimeo also does this. On Vimeo, when you add a video, it's really easy on the right-hand side just to do a checkbox to show which Creative Commons license you want to use. And it works two ways. I mean, that's for people publishing their work, but also for people who are making content. There's some fantastic resources now of Creative Commons license assets that you can find and reuse in your own work. So if you go to search.creativecommons.org, that's the Creative Commons International website, and they have got various spaces that you can then search to find things like, for example, Jamendo. You can find Creative Commons music. Flickr, there's some really good image searches on Flickr, which allow you to find Creative Commons images. You've also got Blip TV, which is Creative Commons video. And there's lots of these different resources all over the world, which mean that you can find content and then you can rework it into your own creativity.
Now, there's a competition in New Zealand called Mix and Mash that uses Creative Commons work.
There is indeed, yes. Now, this is the second year that Mix and Mash has run. I was involved as a judge in it last year, which was really fantastic. It's quite exciting. It's run by Digital New Zealand, and called mixandmash.org.nz is the website. It's launching again this year on August the 4th. So there'll be a Mix and Mash blend happening in Auckland at the Town Hall on Thursday the 4th of August. So if you want to go along to that, go and visit publicaddress.net or mixandmash.org.nz to find out information. And basically, it's a remix and mashup competition. So there's two elements to it. There's the remix side of it is more on the creative side. So that's where you will be given a list of remixable assets. So some of them will be images, some of them will be potentially music, just different types of content that you can remix. And then there are various different categories that you can then enter your remixes into. And then on the mashup side, now this is actually really interesting. The New Zealand government is just in the process of opening up an enormous amount of data for public use and reuse. There's a thing coming out called NZ Goal, which is the New Zealand Government Open Access License. So there's all these data sets, lots and lots of information from the Land Information Group, from various public agencies, which are now being published under Creative Commons licenses, enabling people to access them and use them. So, for example, last year, people were making things like iPhone applications for New Zealand walking tracks. So all the information about all the walking tracks around New Zealand is available publicly. So someone took this information and made an iPhone app so that you can access and find out where you can go for walks around New Zealand.
Under that license, when you make an app, can you then sell the app, or would the app have to be free?
Right now, the terms and conditions are that it would have to be non-commercial use of that app. But so you wouldn't be able to sell it necessarily in the iPhone store. But you can see the potential here that you have, masses and masses of data that the government collects, which historically was in a closed system. Only people who were part of the agencies could access it. And now they're completely opening it up for people to use, reuse, mash up, and just do different things with it. And the great thing is you don't know what people are going to do with it until you let them play and you let them, access to these things. So, I'm encouraging anybody out there who's interested in mashing up data or remixing, graphics, or just basically getting involved to join in the competition. There's going to be schools entering, there's individuals entering. And you can see online at mixandmash.org.nz, there's a fantastic teacher's pack which explains all about remix culture. And you can have a look at some of the winners from last year to see what people did.
Cool, brilliant stuff. And obviously for more as well, you can check out the this chat as a video once more up at thegeekshow.com, 2 3s rather than 2 E's, and all those links as well. Ms. B, nice to chat once again. We'll talk to you again soon.
Great, look forward to it.
Track now from